How we feel is directly related to the gut and the microbiome. This is the buzzword in the last few years as people have beginning to understand that the huge role that the gut plays. Now, your gut is going to break down your food into particles that your body can absorb, but it also is where serotonin is produced, where all of our amino acids are broken down into the building blocks that can then pass through the cells of our body. If our gut isn't healthy, we're not healthy. We're not feeling good. This can go all the way back to the very beginning. Now, when your mom was pregnant with you, her gut bacteria and her microbiome has a huge role to play in the development of the placenta. And then the placenta has a huge role to play in your brain development. And that whole connection of microbiome means that if your mom is struggling with her microbiome, then she's not going to be able to pass it on to her children. And then her children are going to actually be affected in the smarts department and their microbiome. I'm Melissa Kelly with Rising Hope Counseling, and it's my goal to bring you some of the best information to help with your mental health and your emotions so that you can have the best relationships you can. Now, I know I'm not a doctor. I'm not even a nutritionist. I am just a counselor who loves walking with people and looking at their entire body, their entire system as part of their mental health. We don't want to blame your mom. We don't want to blame ourselves for our kids. We want to stop and just look at it from a non-blame standard. Hey, we've been doing the best we can with the knowledge and the tools that we've been given. And so we've all made eating decisions in the last 30 years that is having an effect on ourselves and our children. Now is the time to begin to start making changes without blame, with having grace and kindness for ourselves. We did the best we could back then, and now we're learning and we're growing and we're going to make changes. So if you're wanting to make changes for your gut, I really recommend 2 to 3 things to make some small changes in. One is take a look at my video that's all about yogurt making, how to reintroduce very key bacteria into our gut to help us have a healthier gut experience that can break our foods down. So check into that. That's Dr. Davis's work that is amazing and just having a real huge role to play in helping people to get feeling better. A reductory and get a free copy of my Super Gut Yogurt Right when you sign up for my newsletter. Another option is to really look at a ketogenic carnivore diet. These are diets that are high in fat, high in protein, with a great reduction in all grains and carbohydrates and fruits and vegetables. I figured out years ago that I'm highly sensitive to all kinds of the chemicals in foods, and anything that really raises or spikes my blood sugar is also a problem. Grains really make me not feel well. And it's been a long journey to eliminate what didn't work and really focus on what is working. Now, I like a little vegetable and a little fruit with my sort of ketovore-like diet. I follow an 80-20 rule. I want about 80% of what I eat in a day to be meat and fat, and 20 to 25% of the day to be fruits and vegetables. That seems to work really well for me. And then I focus on fruits and vegetables that don't seem to increase inflammation in my body. So I'm eating things like carrots, cabbage, zucchini, red potatoes, onions, bell peppers, avocado in small amounts. I've landed on these foods because they're low in oxalates, and oxalates are this thorn-like crystal that's inside vegetables. And when you eat it, they accumulate in your body and they can cause some digestive problems, either diarrhea or constipation, and they're really not good for your body. And historically, until the refrigeration system, we ate fruits and vegetables really in a seasonal process. We'd eat some fruits and veggies in the summer, and then winter would come and they really wouldn't be available, so we wouldn't eat them anymore, and we would process those oxalates out of our body. This is one of the reasons why people go on carnivore and they don't feel well, because their body is now dumping the oxalates, and that's what's happened to me. So Dr. Christopher Palmer, a leading expert in ketogenic diets for mental health, really recommends about 20 grams of carbohydrates per day. That can be really helpful in helping your body not be disgorging those oxalates that are stored in your cells to help you feel better. Twice a day, I try to eat some vegetables. Twice a day, I try to eat some vegetables.
Due to my egg allergy, I am unable to eat many of the wonderful keto or carnivore recipes that you can make ahead for breakfast. You can even make a bread substitute out of egg whites. Check out these recipes on Pinterest.
My main ingredients for breakfast are either hamburger, chicken thighs, pork. That is easy to cook up ahead of time and then have it ready to go to be reheated in the morning. And then I mix that with some vegetables. So sometimes it's carrots, other times it's zucchini and cabbage. Maybe a third time is zucchini, cabbage, and carrots. So I like potatoes or rice at night with my dinner, with my meat. And those are both higher in glyphosates, a weed killer that kills the gut bacteria in your microbiome. So they're going to increase your inability to break down your foods. I choose a more expensive organic rice that are not having glyphosates sprayed on them. I also choose to eat little red potatoes because they have the lowest amount of carbs in them. So when you're looking at those potatoes in the grocery store, the bigger the potato, avoid it. So russet potatoes for baked potatoes, they're high in oxalates. They're much higher in carbohydrate. And so I really stick with little red potatoes or maybe the little gold Yukon potatoes. Those are higher in carbohydrates also. So if you're trying to go ketovore, where you're trying to keep your carbs down really low so that your body stays in ketosis, and that's a fat burning process, and also the process that's really great for your mental health, you're really going to have to juggle those. So I've included a link to my little handy how much carbohydrates is in each of these foods. I'm really recommending about a third of a cup. So a third of a cup of carrots is 3 grams, and a third of a cup of cabbage and zucchini is also just under 3 grams. And so if you want to add a little veggie to your meat, that's a great way to go. Then your red potatoes are only 5 grams for a third of a cup. Now, if you switch out to Yukon Gold potatoes, which are my favorite, they taste so yummy, so buttery, but those are 14 grams of carbohydrate. So that's a great way to add a little something to your dinners to have a more fuller, feels like a regular meal. Now, I know some people who are doing the whole keto thing and they eat a lot of salad. I don't eat a lot of salad. I don't feel good when I eat salad. And I think it's because a lot of our leafy greens are going to be higher in oxalate. There's all kinds of things sprayed to kill bugs on them to help that preservation process also. So you're going to have to really listen to your gut. This is why going off vegetables for a while, for a short period, maybe 30 days while you're exploring some carnivore, and then slowly adding back some vegetables in kind of one at a time to figure out which ones make your body not feel good. Another vegetable I don't eat anymore is broccoli. I love roasted broccoli, but I find when I eat it, I don't feel well. And broccoli is another one that they spray glyphosates and other preservatives on. They dunk that stuff in bleach water just to kill any last bugs before it comes through the food chain. And so I avoid that one also. So I'm looking for classic vegetables that we've eaten in our gardens for eons. Those are the ones that I'm primarily eating. Now, avocados is another one. I eat a little bit every now and then. I used to eat an avocado every day, a whole avocado. And when I went carnivore and stopped eating avocado for a little while, when I introduced it back, I realized I don't feel good when I eat avocado in large doses. And that's when I learned that avocados are also pretty high in oxalate. 1/2 of an avocado is your entire daily oxalate intake amount. It's also got a lot of carbohydrate in it. It's a good fat. It's good for that, but eating large amounts of avocado might not be the best thing for you. Balance it. Try to figure out what works for you. Now, if you are not as concerned about weight loss, now a lot of people, they are carrying some extra pounds and they know that's an issue and they're wanting to work on that. Those people might want to really stick to vegetables or stick to berries that are really low in carbs. If you're not so concerned about that and you're really just wanting to eat a low inflammation diet, then you can still eat fruit. I like to have either a half an apple that I skin. I literally take my potato peeler and peel the skin off the apple because the skin is going to have the most of the residue from the pesticides. And I didn't used to really believe in that. I actually grew up on an apple orchard, about 80 acres of apples, and we sprayed. And so I didn't believe in it then. But now, 30 years later, I'm starting to question whether or not living on an orchard with sprays in the air could be part of my problem, why I have such a super sensitive gut. Were some of those things I breathed in just walking down the road or driving down the road and I breathed some of those in? Did they attack my gut? Did they kill off the bacteria? Is that part of my problem? I don't know. I'd love to have more research on that and find out. So I eat apples. I eat a half an apple pretty regularly, but I peel it. Sometimes I'll also eat a banana. A small banana has 20 grams of carbohydrate in it if you are watching your intake. A small banana in my homemade yogurt is lovely. You can cut up your apple and slice it really small and put it in your yogurt. And that makes your yogurt sweeter without having to add any sort of artificial sweeteners. Another option for your yogurt is berries. Berries are a great option of adding sweet and flavors. Now, you might have noticed over the last few decades that we've got these kinds of berries available almost year-round. A lot of those fruits are picked when they're unripe, and then they're shipped, and then gases are flooded into the semi-trucks to actually ripen those fruits. There are more oxalates in the fruit. They're crunchier. They don't have that same texture as fresh ripe fruit from your local stand. So you may want to look at options like frozen strawberries and berries, which are not shipped. They're picked closer to being ripe. That's why frozen strawberries have such a different consistency than your store-bought ones. One thing to consider is that strawberries are on the dirty food list. There are a lot of pesticides sprayed to help those strawberries not die. So just remember when you're eating strawberries that you might want to try to find an organic variety, and you might not want to eat it every single day. But special occasions, a little bit in the summer when they're ripe and fresh. Blueberries are a cleaner variety. There are less sprays and things on those. Raspberries and blackberries are actually high in oxalates. So again, eating those in season, awesome. Then because you're eating your fruit with yogurt, with all that high fat content yogurt, it's going to mean that your blood sugar isn't going to spike when you eat that yogurt. So that's a great way to cheat, to have that sweet thing, but really be managing blood sugar spikes, because we know blood sugar spikes are not good for our brain. They're not good for our mitochondria in our cells that are going to have to work really hard to overcome and bring us back into homeostasis. Click the link in the notes to my website, then sign up for the free cheat sheets to transform your physical and mental health. Like and subscribe and share this content with a friend. And watch for the upcoming release on how to batch process your ketovore food so you can be successful.